Hey, what's going on with y'all, man? It's Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video. So y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. So of course, when I see a good bit of people asking me to do the same video, y'all know I'ma jump on it. Man of the people, as they say. And so figured it was time we go ahead and talk about Jelani Day. Now, obviously, a lot of you guys already know that they found his body to be without any organs on a second autopsy. Now, I think we get this same pattern from Kendrick Johnson. Remember Kendrick Johnson? If you go back to the Kendrick Johnson video, there was one autopsy done. Then there was a second one done where he was found to be without his organs. And we get the same story here with Jelani Day. On the second autopsy, I'm assuming it was done by a private, pathologist or whatever. And I think I did see that in the article. It was an autopsy the family got done. If I'm not mistaken, we'll find that out. But we get the same pattern. We get the same pattern on how they did it with Kendrick Johnson. And for me, that's why it's important that I tackle all these videos, get them done, put them out there. It's so we can see the pattern. So for one, it don't sound like I'm crazy, even though I could care less what y'all think. But anyways, just for the flock's sake, it don't sound like I'm crazy. I can relate back something to another video that I've already done. And then now you starting to see, things happen in the same way, in the same pattern. You're like, all right, something is up with this. It can't just be a coincidence that, it's happening this way, and with young black men at that. So I've saw an article that said this was not Dapper Dan's son. They say Dapper Dan actually had that this is not his son, that their name is just the same. And I think Dapper Dan's son has like a beard and this dude doesn't. So I'm not really sure if that's really the truth or not. But here on the internet, it says parents Dapper Dan, but it could just be because their name is spelled the exact same way. So, of course, Google is going to pull up the one who's most known, who's been searched the most before. And maybe it's just some kind of confusion. I don't really know. But the police, the Bloomington police, they say that the circumstances surrounding Day's death, they're suspicious or whatever. It says, to me, it's unusual the way his vehicle was, it was off a parking lot inside. Don't really know what they worded this weird. I guess they're quoting exactly what he said, and whatever he said kind of don't make sense. It wasn't like deep into woods, but it was off a parking lot. They should have just not really quoted him and wrote it exactly what he was trying to say. And he said that's just unusual in itself. So I guess what they're trying to say is that they have no idea how he ended up in the water and how his car even got to where it was found at. One of those kind of situations. And then obviously goes on to say that they declined to really talk about the case. Jelani Day was 25 years old, and I'm just going to go kind of down this article a little bit just for people that may have didn't know anything about this case, just so you could kind of get familiar with it. And yeah, it says it's a suspicious or unusual circumstance while he was missing. And then the car's location was also pretty unusual. And he's saying he's been an officer for 10 years, so he's saying that seeing it like that or wherever it was located at was unusual. He's never really seen that before. So obviously, we're getting, you know, we're getting the police even saying that this case is already unusual. All right, y'all. So they give us the date that Day's body was found was September 4th, floating in a river. They say the cause of death was not immediately known and was pending further investigation and toxicology testing. Day disappeared on August 24th and hadn't been seen since. I think he was reported missing on August 25th by his professor after not showing up to class a few times. I think I saw in another article, which I found that to be weird. I didn't really think too much about it, but they said right here that he disappeared on August 24th. The other article, or it might have been in this one. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. But the one I read one where it said his professor reported him missing on the 25th after he didn't show up to class for a few days. But so I'm not really sure on that, but yeah. I'm not really, saying that's just something that's odd here, but it was kind of weird. I have to read that article again where it said that his professor reported him missing on the 25th. Now, this is Jelani Day, and that's why I said the Jelani Day that's Dapper Dan's son supposedly has a full beard and doesn't really look like this, so I think it's safe to assume that this is definitely a completely different person and it's not Dapper Dan's son. Alright, so this is definitely in the same article because it says Day's family and the professor reported him missing on August 25th after he did not show up for class for several days. And this is why I was saying they said Day disappeared on August 24th and hadn't been seen since. His car was found 2 days later in a wooded area near where the body was discovered, miles from where he was last seen. So his car was in the woods, his body was in the water, he disappeared on the 24th, but his family and a professor reported him missing on August 25th after he did not show up for class for several days. How in the hell does that make sense? Now, the thing about, this is NBCChicago.com. Obviously it's NBC, but this is not like one of those huge, news articles that says CNN or anybody like that. Not trying to discredit this article, but I mean, maybe these are the facts. We might have to read another article to see if it, if it's saying the same thing. But if I'm tripping, y'all let me know. How is it possible for him to disappear, look right here, on August 24th, hadn't been seen since, but then they say in the same article, his family and a professor reported him missing on the 25th after he didn't show up for class for several days. Several days, meaning from probably August 20th to August 25th, he wasn't in class. So how did they come up with he disappeared on August 24th? If he was reported not being in class for several days, how do y'all know what day he actually disappeared? So y'all see what I'm stuck on. Now that might actually be something, but it depends. I maybe have to read it somewhere else to just confirm if that's even right. Maybe this article makes some shit up, but that would be weird. Him right here in this picture is him walking into a dispensary in Bloomington. I don't know what kind of dispensary, maybe a weed dispensary, I don't know. 2 days later, police found his car in the woods 60 miles away in Peru, Illinois. Police said the clothes he was last seen wearing in the surveillance video were found in his white Chrysler 300. So I'm going to assume he was naked in the water. Clothes were taken off. And of course, the mom says it's not like him to disappear. He wasn't a depressed or, troubled child, or didn't have any pressures that were making him want to escape from life. And that's exactly what the mom said. She feels like someone hurt her son. And now we get to where they say Dave's family, criticized the investigation, saying the young black man has not received the attention of other missing persons like that of Gabby Petito, which is white, obviously, whose disappearance and subsequent death made national headlines and spawned a multi-state search from numerous law enforcement departments. Now, that's very true, and we obviously know how that goes when it comes to how they decide to treat cases of young black men, young black women, compared to young white women, young white men, or, they don't have to be young, they don't have to be old, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. We already know, how that goes. And a lot of the time it's deeper than just them not wanting to, blow up this young black man being missing over the white girl, because when we go just a little bit deeper, we already know they want to race bait us. This is just another tactic. So they allow it to go viral without actually blowing it up like how they would a Gabby Petito. But they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose. So at the same time, while we do know why they're doing it, and it is fucked up that a young 25-year-old black man doesn't get the same attention that a young, I forget how old Gabby Petito was, that a young white woman would get, is definitely fucked up. But we got to remember, we can't allow them to play with our heads with it, because that's really what they're doing. They want to race bait you. Just, everything they do is about race. It's about keeping everything divided still, It's still about pitting white in front of your face as a black man and making you feel, like you're the minority. It's still about that, They still want to racially divide every fucking thing, That's just what it is at the end of the day. That's what comes from the elite, and that's what comes from the government. So this is definitely some, just some race baiting agenda type shit when they allow these narratives to be blown up, as far as the fact that they're not treating the case the same as they would someone that's white. So when I see stuff like that, I just don't let it, I don't let it pull to me, because we already know what's going on, like we know, so it's no reason to give your energy to it. And yeah, that is that article. Now, we're going to move on to how the body was discovered with no organs. And let's see. It was bad enough that the body of her son, 25-year-old Illinois State University graduate student Jelani Day, wasn't found off the south bank of the Illinois River until 10 days after he was first reported missing on August 25th. All right, so now we confirm from the last article that he definitely was reported missing on August 25th, but it also says that he disappeared August 24th, just the day before. But the professor said that he was missing for several days, didn't come to class. So that still doesn't make sense. So he was first reported missing on August 25th, 9 days after his car was found in a wooded area in the town of Peru. A month later, from being reported missing almost a month later, his body was finally identified by the coroner's office. And then it goes on in this article to say it was bad enough that while all this was going on, Dave's mother had been basically begging the media to pay her son's story the same attention that it had paid to Gabby Petito. And she'd been concerned that the authorities had been dragging their feet investigating her son's disappearance. Let's see. It turns out that even after Dave's body had been identified, Bowden was not immediately allowed to view the body. Now that's obviously very suspicious. And then they discovered the body was missing virtually all its vital organs. After a second autopsy was performed at the family's request, like I said earlier, the second autopsy was requested by the family. So we get the same pattern as the way it happened with Kendrick Johnson. By the time they requested a second autopsy, they found that the body didn't have any organs. Kendrick Johnson was stuffed with newspaper. So, and then we get a bunch of stuff throughout the article where they're saying basically the coroner's office people, they were kind of rude, and they were just being, they were being rude to the mom, basically. I don't know if that's true or not, but, not really something we would be able to confirm. So I'm going to assume they're saying a day later, as in a day after the autopsy was done, the coroner's office announced Day had finally been identified. But Bowden said she was informed she would still have to wait to view the body, which was waterlogged to the point where it was missing Day's eyeballs. So she still couldn't see if this was actually her son. You got to remember that. She hasn't identified anything. They're identifying him. And it doesn't say anything about dental records or how they even identified him in the first place. So you got to remember that as well. The Sun-Times reported that family's private forensic pathologist could find no brain, according to Day and her attorney, no organs, neither liver nor spleen. The second autopsy also determined that Day's jawbone had been sawed out. So we gotta think about that. It was sawed out. A jawbone it takes. You're gonna have to use a saw or something. You're literally drilling through bone. So, however long he was actually missing, or from the moment he was killed up until everything was taken out of his body, they had enough time, tools, and patience to saw out his jawbone. Think about that. So we get one thing here, really. We get one thing. This was not done where he was found at. You don't saw out a jawbone in the middle of a creek or in the middle of woods and then just leave the body there. It would be blood everywhere. Everywhere. So we have to think about that. It would have had to been done, after the body was found, obviously, because they're saying this was the second autopsy. So we're gonna assume, because we're not getting information about the first autopsy, we're gonna assume during the first autopsy he had all his organs. That's what we're gonna assume, because obviously they didn't find the body in the water, gutted and brain missing and all that. So clearly all of his organs got gutted and all of that stuff, and jawbone got sawed out after the body was found and discovered by the police, I'm sure. I mean, what else could it be? This is on the second autopsy. So, I mean, the body was already discovered. So really, and before I get to my point and kind of wrap everything up, um, it says on September 29th, Day's family had gathered at the funeral home where Bolden was finally able to view her son's body, but her attorney advised against it since he was in such bad shape. Now, we got to realize something. They haven't been able to actually see. I mean, she was never actually able to see her son's body until the funeral. The funeral. You got to think about that. The funeral, after he's supposedly already been identified, but not by her, by them. And then her own attorney said, nah, you probably don't want to see it because his body is in that bad of a shape. And the article goes on to say that Day's grandmother and one of his brothers were the only ones in the family to see his body. Bolden still isn't absolutely sure it was her son who was lying in a closed casket, according to the Sun Times, which is a big, a big news outlet. And then this article goes on to end it saying, mind you, we still have no idea how Day ended up in the river in the first place, which I said that earlier, because they never gave any information on how he got there or any of that. So think about this. She never saw her son's body until the funeral. Didn't even see it at the funeral because the attorney advised against it. Only her grandmother and her brother saw his body. But it doesn't go on to say rather they confirmed that was him or not. But the mom definitely couldn't see it. So that's very weird. That's very odd. She doesn't even know if that's actually her son that's in the casket. And it very well could not be this dude right here. And this might not even be her son. Could be why they never wanted her to actually see the body. Now, the crazy thing about it all, when we get these, when we get these kind of cases where the organs end up missing, I feel like, it's something they try and use against us as well. Because it's like, all right, we're already, we're already not going to give this case that much attention because it's a young black man going missing, compared to how we did Gabby Petito. We're already going to piss them off with that. But how about we go ahead and we take the organs as well, make it national news and put it all out over articles and stuff like that. Now that's really going to get them going. That's really going to get them going. We already not going to give it as much national attention. But then we're going to take his organs. And we already know what this is at the end of the day. It's organ harvesting of a young black man. They sawed his jawbone out, his spleen, brain. Organ harvesting. Y'all already know it's big business. Y'all already know that. That's why so many kids go missing a year. Young black kids, young black men, young black women, every single year. We already know. It's a big business. So to me, we get one or two things. And y'all already know how I like to just end it all and sum up everything, we get one or two things. Because obviously, look, before I even go there, obviously this wasn't something where, remember, the second autopsy discovered that there were no organs. So there had to be a first autopsy where everything was intact, I'm going to assume. We didn't get any information about the first autopsy. So obviously this was planned. This wasn't just something random where a young black man came into a coroner's office and they decided to take all of his organs because someone called in and said, yo, we need that. No, it wasn't. It didn't happen that way. It was planned. It was orchestrated. Regardless, this was not done. This wasn't a random act, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it was definitely planned. This was going to be something else to energy harvest and harvest this young dude's organs as well. And now the flip side to me even saying all of that is the fact that we don't know anything. Just like I always say, we ain't see none of this go down. We ain't see no body. We ain't see no car. We ain't see nothing. All we see is a picture of him at a dispensary. They say that's all they saw. The mama didn't even see her own son's body, not one single time. Don't even know if he really was in the closed casket dead. Closed casket. She don't even know. How the hell we gonna know that this is real? She don't know her damn self. So y'all already know what's going on, man. I ain't gonna take it no further than that. We're gonna end it right here. If anything else comes out about this case, y'all already know I'm on it. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. And y'all already know what's going on, man. It's Black Balloon. We're gonna be coming back with more videos, more content as always. I hope y'all have a good week. It's Black Balloon. And I'm gonna see y'all soon. I'm out.